This week's episode of One of a Kind with RVD is presented by Get Blitzed, and you can get 15% off your order when you head to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD. Get 15% off.
One of a Kind with Rob Van Dam is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah, and I called Dean Malenko because he was the agent, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck, you know? And he's like, where are you? And I said, I'm in Tyler. And he goes, where? We're at the school or whatever, the building. We're at Civic Center. And I said, no, there is no Civic Center. I'm in Tyler, Oklahoma, or Tyler, Texas. I really don't even remember which one I went to, which is the right one. But of course, he thought it was funny as hell, and so did everybody, you know, that could hear it in the background or whatever.
When I make a trip, say if I'm going to Vegas or I'm going Chicago or something like that, and I'm like, oh, I should get there a day early just so I'm not like stressed out. I arrive there and I got to rush around and worry about it. So I'm like thinking about it the other way, where it's like I need a day almost to like kind of acclimate myself.
Dude,
yeah.
Man, I got two different things I want to say here. I don't know if I'll be able to remember this, but but one of them is there was a short period in my life when I felt like that, and it was like, you know, after the wife left, dog died, dad died actually during this time when I was in Chicago doing exactly what you're talking about, but I felt like I wasn't expected anywhere. Just this one appearance, you know, on Friday or whatever. So I would hang out for several days during that time. And I was, you know, usually at the bar drinking, but also, you know, let's see what comes my way, you know. Hey, girls, you know, interested? I don't care if you are or not. Whatever, cool. Hey, you know what I mean? It was like nothing fucking mattered. And I did that, you know, in Miami and in Chicago. There was several trips where I was just like, I'm just going to stay a few days for the fuck of it because I didn't want to be in my own home. But there was a short little time in 2016. And besides that, it's been the opposite, which is the other thing that I wanted to say, which is that was the WWE way. When I think about it right now, 2001, when I got to WWE for the first time, you know, under contract with, they used to, for some reason, fly everybody in, and you had to show up at TV and then find out if you're working or not.
Wow.
What an expensive way to do business, right? But what the boys would do, and this, I remember my very first day there in Atlanta, and you know, I remember Marcus Bagwell was one of them, and Scotty Tuhati, and I just remember like the guys that knew what was going on or whatever. They show up because we all got to be there at 12 or 1 or whatever, and they fucking go and they look on the list on the wall, and if the name isn't on the list, they're like, yeah, and they might ask the agent, you know, and just, you're supposed to check with the agent. Sometimes they wouldn't, or I wouldn't if I was in this boat after I learned about it, but it was like, boom, find the earliest flight back home.
Yeah.
Earliest flight, like, yeah, it's Monday, 12 o'clock, you just got to work, and you're like, so 3 o'clock, see, can I make that flight? And boom, they'd be out of there that quick. And you know, get their flight changed so that it would still get paid for or whatever. But everybody did that. That was the routine back then. And I guess that's, you know, probably where I got that from.
Wow. How about that, man? Yeah, that's crazy. That's just crazy to think of all the flight complications and working out the logistics of that from the WWE side, and then from the wrestler side too. It's just like you're all dealing with that. It's just an ongoing thing.
Yeah, because I guess they didn't know until the last minute, and they would have that agents meeting Monday morning where they're all together at the arena, and then they would decide the show. And until then, they wanted everybody. I don't know why they wanted everybody to show up, really, but I think that there's something to be said about their desire to see loyalty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One time, and a lot of fans know this story, a lot of them think it's hilarious, and it is. I'm laughing right now thinking about it. But one time, and I used to ride by myself during this period, we had a show in a town called Tyler. We're wrestling in Tyler tonight. We're flying into Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And man, the GPS in the car just came out. just came out. We all used that fucking what was it called? Something I want to call it Navigator.
Garmin.
Was it the Garmin that came with the cars, the rental cars?
Yeah, I think so. There was a Garmin that
There was
like,
a Garmin.
you could buy.
I'm thinking of something with an N. You know, like I'm thinking Netscape. No, it's not that. Navigator. Must have been something off of the Navigator work. But yeah, anyway, you were. I think it was a Garmin anyway, and I think that was the brand, and the other Navigator is probably just what they called it or whatever. But anyway, I get to Dallas, Texas because I flew in, and then I punch in Tyler on the Garmin Navigator, and and 2 Tylers pop up.
What?
And the thing that really sucked is they were both 150 miles away.
What?
Tyler, Oklahoma, and Tyler, Texas. They were the same distance apart, and I fucked up.
You went to the wrong Tyler.
I went to the wrong one. We got all the way there, and knowing my habits, I was not early anyway, probably pushing it, getting to the show at the last minute. But when I get there, I'm in the middle of a cornfield. Yeah. And I called Dean Malenko because he was the agent. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck, And he's like, where are you? And I said, I'm in Tyler. And he goes, where? We're at the school or whatever, the building. We're at the Civic Center. And I said, no, there is no Civic Center. I'm in Tyler, Oklahoma, or Tyler, Texas. I really don't even remember which one I went to, which was the right one. But of course, he thought it was funny as hell, and so did everybody, that could hear it in the background or whatever. But that motherfucker made me drive all the way. So now I got 300 miles. I got to drive all the way back across and go to the other Tyler. And I was like, bro, there's no fucking way I'm going to make the show. He goes, I don't know. You probably can just drive, just be safe, but do what you can. And I'm like, Dean, bro, that's 300 miles, bro. Even if I go 75, I mean, that's like 4 hours away. The show's going to end. No, he goes, you'll be all right, man. The roads are pretty clear. Just, kind of make it. I was like, oh, motherfucker. And I drove there and all the way, and right when I pulled in to where all the other cars were, and I got out of my car, everybody else was coming to their cars. They were all the boys were leaving, the show was over, and they all laughed at me. And when I think about that, I think it had something to do with, hey, I'm on the clock anyway. If he tells me, I want you to drive 300 miles instead of hang out at a bar and drink or whatever the fuck one of the boys might be doing, then I guess that made sense, because, hey, I got to get with them anyway. Also, I think I had to prove I was there because I could have been anywhere calling and saying, hey, Dean, I'm in Tyler, Oklahoma, even though I was really in fucking Battle Creek, Michigan, with the Serial City prostitutes,
The Serial City prostitutes.
By the way, but I gotta look something up, I think. Yeah. But you get my point, though. But I don't know. Why do you think Dean made me go 300 miles knowing that I wasn't going to make that show? Why would you do that if you're the agent, you're the boss of the night?
Maybe because you're such a big name that they would want you there, and then maybe the expectation, the onus would fall on Dean or something. I don't know the layout of that. Maybe that's the only thing I could maybe think is no, we need RVD here. He should be here because he's one of the biggest stars, and we got to have him here or something.
So you're thinking maybe I really could make it. I'm pretty sure he knew I wouldn't.
Say that again.
Changes that. No, so you're
maybe not. Yeah,
you're right. So in order for that to be right, it would have to be that he actually thought I would possibly make the show. But I must have been going 100 miles an hour. I drove like an idiot back then anyway. I always talk about that. When I got busted for the weed in New Jersey, I didn't even fucking ever bother looking at the speed. I always just made as best time as I could when I was on the road. Once in a while, I'd get a speeding ticket or get pulled over and let go. But I was not a careful driver,
No.
Yeah, not till like after everything happened with the bust and stuff, and I kind of grew up, and actually, I might be the only person that rides with me that will back up what I just said about me being a careful driver.